Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Dennis, for that much too kind and generous introduction. It is great to be with you all. Thank you for the invitation. I do realise, though, as Dennis has already said, I am your final speaker of what has been a hectic few days, and that I stand between you and your Sunday evening gin and tonic or Sunday evening dinner or whatever. This is actually the 21st and final President-elect's preparation event I have attended since the 2nd of February, not only across the US, but also in Europe and Central America. All but one of them has been face-to-face. It seems entirely fitting that it should be here on my local patch, surrounded by my fellow Celts, that I knock off number 21. It's good to be home. I must confess, even now, with only 90 days, or to use the McInally family unit of measurement, 90 sleeps, to go until the 1st of July, I still find it hard to believe that I soon will become president of Rotary International. And of course, in the course of the next few minutes, maybe you too will find it hard to believe that I soon will become the president of Rotary International. Let's see how we go. I said last June in my acceptance remarks at the International Convention in Houston that I would be standing on the shoulders of giants, the giants who have gone before me as RI president. But you know, as I have traveled around these past 8 weeks, I've come to realize that I will also be standing among giants. The giants like each of you who will lead the Rotary clubs and districts during 2023-24. The giants who will create hope in the world. This is an exciting time in the calendar year as we prepare for a new Rotary year. Training events cascading down from the International Assembly through events such as this and on to club assemblies. A new theme, a new logo, a new tie and a new scarf, and of course, a new cohort of leaders. It's all change. But you know, some of the best examples of leadership any of us can show at this time is to continue to support the efforts of others. As many of you know, I have always been a great advocate of continuity in Rotary. I've tried to practice it at every level of Rotary leadership, be it at the club, in the district, or at Great Britain and Ireland level. And I have no intention of altering that approach now. I believe strongly in the concept of Rotary's years, plural, where there is a seamless transition between leaders, rather than the concept of my year, singular, where one individual takes us in one direction, only for other individuals to take us in other directions in subsequent years, before all too often we end up right back where we started, where individuals will not embark on any initiatives that do not complete in their year because they are worried that they won't get the credit for it. Waldo Emerson, the 19th century US philosopher, said, "There is no limit to what can be achieved if it doesn't matter who gets the credit." And I agree with that statement 100%. I'm not bothered about who gets credit for something, as long as that something is worthwhile and is done properly. And that's why I count myself extremely fortunate to have been able to work with President Jennifer Jones this year in a spirit of true continuity that we hope will see Rotary move forward on a straight and steady and ever improving course towards an ever better future. And I'm delighted to have already started to do exactly the same with President nominee Stephanie Urchik, who you heard from yesterday. I would urge you to do the same in your clubs, because the most successful clubs are those where there is continuity in leadership. I'm sure by now, many of you will have heard, read, or seen my speech in Orlando at the International Assembly in January, outlining the plans for our year ahead. Time precludes me from repeating these in detail today, but if I may, I'd like to touch on two things I would really like to see us address during the coming year. And they stem from our vision statement, which, as you all know, says, "Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves." I'd like to focus on two specific ways that we can bring the visions of lasting change across the globe and lasting change in ourselves to life. Firstly, across the globe, by putting a greater focus on peace. I am in no doubt whatsoever, that the founders and the builders of this organization would be proud of the hard work we have done in the past year to support the people of Ukraine as they have faced the brutal war with Russia. As we have done so many times in the past, Rotary has answered history's call and put humanitarian relief first. We have donated generously. We have supported our fellow members wholeheartedly, and we have earned the respect of the entire population of that beautiful country. But we all know that true relief will not come for the Ukrainian people, nor for that matter the Russian people, until there is peace. The same is true in Yemen, Afghanistan, Syria, and countless other places across the globe where we see conflict, including here in Great Britain and Ireland, where we see violence and killings occurring on an almost daily basis. I'm on record as saying, peace is the soil where hope takes root. We till this soil every time we practice positive peace, every time we create new connections between people, and every time we find new opportunities for commonality, something that is within our power to do across the world in so many different ways. In Rotary, we know that peace is not a passive dream. It's an outcome of hard work, earned trust, and often difficult conversations. We know that peace must be waged persistently and bravely. And the bravest goal any human being can set is the pursuit of peace. And in Rotary, everything we do, every single thing we do across all of our areas of focus helps make peace and redemption possible through the creation of hope. At the International Assembly, I spoke of a lady from Thailand who helped me come to the realization that the theme for 2023-24 should be create hope in the world, with her story of how Rotary had given her hope after the tsunami of 2004 had robbed her of her livelihood, her home, and her entire family. But like many of you must have done, I have seen time and time again how Rotary has created hope for those we serve. One of my most recent such examples, and arguably one of the most powerful ones, came in August during a week-long visit I made to the Philippines. And it was yet another example of how Rotary not only changes lives, but quite literally saves them. In Manila, I had the opportunity to visit the De Los Santos Medical Center in Quezon City, which for a number of years has been the site of a wonderful Rotary initiative. an initiative that sees the poorest of the poor children of the Philippines gain access to free surgeries for congenital heart defects. These surgeries not only save their lives, but they allow these children to become normal, happy, and achieving. During my visit to De Los Santos, I had the opportunity to visit the recovery ward and meet several patients who had not long had surgery, and to greet them and their parents. Parents who were so grateful to Rotary for what we had done for their children. As I left the ward, I was invited to witness at first hand a surgery about to be carried out on a young 4-year-old girl with a hole in her heart. A hole in her heart that, were it to be left untreated, would limit her life and ultimately cause her early death. Now, having carried out my fair share of oral surgery over the years, I was no stranger to an operating theatre, and so I was happy to watch this little girl's procedure, a procedure that was going to save her life. As I stood close to the operating table, marveling at the skill of the young pediatric cardiac surgeon performing the operation, I felt my mobile phone vibrating in my pocket. Once the operation was complete and the little girl was safely in the recovery room, I took out my phone to discover a WhatsApp message from home in Scotland with a photograph showing my 4-year-old granddaughter Ivy in her new school uniform with a beaming smile on her face. For that very day, at the very moment I was witnessing that little girl's procedure, Ivy was setting off for her first ever day at school. As I stared at the photograph on my phone, I thought of that little girl whose operation I had just witnessed, and the fact that thanks to Rotary, she also would soon be embarking on the journey of education on which Ivy was embarking. She too would be able to enjoy a normal, happy, and achieving life. And as I blinked back the tears in my eyes, I realized that for her, hope had been created. So, in crafting what is not my theme, but our theme for this incoming Rotary year, I wanted to issue a call to action. I thought of the lady from Thailand. I thought about the little girl from Manila. And I thought about so many others I have met down the years. I thought about what we've done in Ukraine, in Syria, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, and elsewhere. And I realized that this is how Rotary brings lasting change across the globe, one newly created hope at a time. And it also begins to explain how we help bring a similar kind of change within ourselves, the second of the parts of our vision statement I referenced earlier. Because for many people on this planet, lost hope is not just a function of material poverty. All of us face challenges that threaten our well-being. And just as it takes tremendous courage to wage peace, so too it is brave to reach out and admit that you need help. In the wake of the pandemic, more people than ever are hurting. Many have lost the people close to them. Others have seen their social networks uprooted. Divisions have grown wider. Opportunities for connection have been lost. And some of those hurting the most are the children and young adults whose education and social skills building has been so badly interrupted. To make matters worse, in many parts of the world, asking for help, especially in the field of mental health, is considered a weakness. At the International Assembly in Orlando, I shared publicly for the first time how I had seen that all too close at hand when my brother, my only brother, Ian, descended into the depths of despair and depression that ultimately led him to take his own life 9 years ago. With the benefit of hindsight, Ian had been struggling for some time, despite being highly successful in his chosen profession, and despite having the most loving wife and family. But he just could not bring himself to ask for help. Was it for fear of being seen as weak? Was it for fear of being judged? Or was it even for fear of being rejected? We will never know. But believe me, these are 3 questions I ask myself every day in life. I might venture to suggest that one of the main reasons that Ian and so many others like him reach the point they do is that mental health remains such a taboo subject, and that mental health services remain in such short supply. I have heard it said that the mental health system isn't broken, it just hasn't been built yet. Well, maybe, just maybe, Rotary can, as it has done with so many other things in the past, help to build it. And that is why I want us to prioritise mental health during 2023-24 and hopefully beyond. I want to encourage you to erase the stigma associated with emotional well-being. I want to encourage you to raise awareness of mental health needs. And I want to encourage you to improve access to preventative and interventive mental health services. It's an important task. It's a big ask. But I'm asking each and every one of you to become champions of this effort. I want Rotary to become known as an organisation that takes care of the people we serve, and takes care of its members. Any mental health professional will tell you that by helping others, we essentially help ourselves. In fact, a recent study conducted by Ohio State University found that the single most effective way to alleviate the symptoms of depression is to perform acts of kindness. Just think about that for a moment. Experts are, in effect, now prescribing what we do as Rotary members as the best way to create hope for ourselves. The evidence overwhelmingly shows that helping others benefits our mental health and well-being by reducing stress and by improving our mood. And the friendships developed along the way foster an incredible sense of community and camaraderie, themselves essential ingredients to mental health and wellness. So, these are just some of the plans for the year ahead, for our year together. That we help bring peace to the world and soothe those afflicted by conflict and by violence. And that we help each other and our communities deal with our own internal struggles. And that we end the stigma associated with asking for help. In all these actions, to help the world heal from destructive conflicts, and in turn, to help us achieve lasting change in ourselves, we create hope. We create hope in the world. I'd like to close by thanking you all for stepping up to the plate and becoming club president. Because, believe me, I am under no illusion at all, that the work of Rotary is done in my office on the 18th floor of One Rotary Centre in Evanston. No, the work of Rotary is done in each and every one of the 37,000 plus Rotary clubs that encircle the globe. Each and every one of the Rotary clubs represented on this call. So thank you for all you are doing, and thank you for all you will do. I look forward to working with you and to walking alongside you over the next 15 months. All the best and have a great Sunday evening.